Greetings everyone and welcome back to Keeper Roguelike or KeeperRL. It has been quite a while since I last played KeeperRL and many things have changed and some things haven't changed, some things have gotten better, and I was just feeling like playing this right now. So we're gonna do one, maybe two, maybe more campaigns. A campaign, if it's successful, can take quite a few episodes, so maybe we'll just do one, but if I die really quickly, then we might squeeze in one or two more. So let's go ahead and just jump back into this. Now, for those who are brand new to Keeper Roguelike, you can check out my previous games on the playlist, or you can take this with you. It's basically Dungeon Keeper, with more of a top-down roguelike-y kind of feel to it, where you can actually really get in there and control the units. You can either play Adventure or Keeper. Keeper, you are the evil making the dungeon, or Adventurer, you're the good guy trying to slay the Keepers. It is significantly harder to play this one, like, oh my lord, it's very, very difficult. But we're gonna go ahead and make a Keeper. Now, the Keeper's name shall not be me, it shall be Splattercat. There we go. Okay, it's not going to be Splattercat. It is going to be... Damn it, Splattercat. Why have you got a long name? Why you got to have such a long name? CatsBeard. Yeah, we can have CatsBeard. Also, I kind of want to have the capitalization right, though. CatsBeard. There we are. CatsBeard the Keeper. There we go. Now, this is the campaign map, and we can choose the site of our initial dungeon. Now, the dotted lines indicate which areas we're going to be interacting with throughout the campaign. However, that's just the initial one. As you do stuff, for example, wiping out civilizations, your sphere of influence grows, and you start to be able to interact with things further afield. Now, only the things that you can interact with you. So, for example, if I started here, then I wouldn't have to worry about the red dragon initially. Additionally, you can add retired dungeons. There's lots of dungeons. Basically, these are other people who have beaten the game as a keeper. They've got a dungeon that has survived the test of time, and it's glorious. And then you can have all sorts of information here. For example, how many attempts versus how many successful conquerings of that dungeon have happened. For example, Thief 2. His highest level creature is an imp. How on earth? What? That makes no... It must be entirely peopled with traps. That is all I can imagine. You, for example, you've got like really high level ogres and all kinds of craziness. But sure, we'll have Thief 2. You can join. Now, Thief 2 is an actual area that we can go to now, and we can fight with them. They can fight with us, so on and so forth. Let's re-roll the map, though. Let's try and find something. I particularly like having bandits. Bandits are a good early source of killing people, basically. Zombies are less a villain. Oh, that's a bit of a shame. Don't like the zombies being a villain. No, no, no. Ooh, what? Wow, really? That's a little bit bad. If you start here early on, you're going to have so many people just coming and knocking down your doors and trying to slay you. Still, we'd have 3 allies, and I'm kind of fond of that. Alright. I'm going against my better judgment here, frankly. But, okay, I think. I mean, I could add another dungeon. Yeah, you know what? Let's add one more dungeon. Let's find something interesting. What the dickens is that? I've never seen that creature before. Many things have changed. Like I said, many, many things have changed. Dear Lord, really? What? I have no idea. Let's find someone who's never been attacked. So I don't know whether they're a difficult one or a hard one, other than the glimpse of their strongest creatures. Let's go ahead. Have you got a dragon? All right. Fibrans. Fibrans shall also be on this map. But now it's regenerated the map, so that sucks. There we go. We've got the dryads. I don't particularly like the dryads, honestly. The knights are a main villain. We've got one ally nearby there. We can go here. We've got a giant spider is a lesser enemy. No, I think maybe, possibly. Can I get the bandits in some way that isn't going to result in my immediate death? Well, that'll do. We'll have the main villains of the knights, the bandits, And the Dryads as a lesser villain. We're going to have to conquer at least one of them before we can start moving on. Oh, sorry, we've also got the tree spirits as well, so that should be good. I shall confirm. The world's name is Tanda. Very well. Let us begin. Oh, it's been so long since I've played. Right, well, I'm going to pause the game first and foremost. Here we are. This is our keeper. There are all sorts of things up here that you need to be paying attention to. I'll be covering them as we go through. This is one of the really important things to check out, though. Lets us know what other factions are in the world. The lesser villains, the main villains. We can see that Opatruma, the humans of Opatruma, are within our sphere of influence. Anything outside our influence zone can't interact with us, but that is also good because it shields us from them until we get strong enough. So it really doesn't. It is quite important for you to select a good place with your keeper early on. That will mean that you're not necessarily going to get completely nuked. Now, I'm going to control my keeper. I've actually gone into full-on roguelike mode, and I can move around myself with the keys down here. And we can have a little look around, because I want to scout out a good starting location for our dungeon. This is remarkably well defended. Ooh, okay, we've found some sort of cave system over there. That's not the best thing to have found, honestly. But I'm sure we can make do with it. Okay, just a tiny little rock face there. Very well. I like to have a good idea of my surrounding area before I settle on where we're going to effectively live and build up our evil empire. Just removing all of the shadow because I'm compulsive like that. Right. Okay, so big old mountainside. Okay, this is not bad. We've got a lot of good areas. I'm a little bit concerned about the area just to the south, which had caves there already. Oh, hello, boar. Let's not mess with the boar. I'm super low level, and all I've got are imps to protect me. If your keeper dies, game over. If anything else dies, stupid minions. Right, okay, well, let's have a look then. We want to not settle too close to that. I don't know what it is. We're probably going to want to destroy it, whatever it is. But I'm going to say, let's go ahead and dig in right about here. So let's drag that across. Hopefully that isn't too loud. Is there any way for me to bring up options? Change options. There we are. I can't seem to change the sound, so I might need to play around with the volume levels in-game. You might miss out on the awesome music, perhaps. Right, so the way I usually like to have my dungeons is I tend to like to have a little room, maybe around here, just for some initial resources, such as wood. You're going to need wood to build more or less everything else. My imps will get to work carving out this area. Yes, we need to... Oh, really? Really? Already? That's just not on. We have got water already. I mean, it could be good, could be bad. It does make it difficult for enemies to go around us. We can use it to our betterment. We can like have them fighting on bridges and stuff. Though you do end up losing out that way, because anything that drops into the floor... Oh, I was holding down control there. What I meant to hold down is shift, because then I can draw out rectangles. And now I would like my imps to start cutting down trees. With big old rectangle selection there. That should be enough wood for now. But we're going to need to adjust our expectations on where we're going to be digging over here. I do still want to dig into the mountain. And I like to dig corridors leading in that encourage the use of traps. For obvious reasons. Traps. I don't need any other reason than traps, basically. Traps are good. Right. Now, thing is, I guess we'd have mostly just gas traps along here. I want to encourage twisty-turny corridors that go deep into the mountain, where eventually we'll be able to have lots of poisonous gas, and it'll generally make things really, really quite unpleasant for any scallywags who are trying to raid us. Yeah. Right. Bring that out just a little bit more, because ultimately I'm going to want this to go fairly far down. We're going to have to see where the water line is. Where is this lake in here? Where does that go? because I've been adjusting my plans regarding traps. That should be okay, I think. Now, I want the way in to be up here. So we're going to have a really long corridor, and at the end there's going to be a boulder. And then there's going to be a door right about there. And then a path moving through here that is, again, going to be, full of gas traps and the likes. And then we're going to have another corridor, which, again, will have a boulder in it. And we're going to want them to enter about there. Now, that's probably a little bit too long of a corridor, honestly, so I'm going to have to dig that one back a bit. Unless... maybe this will work, actually. I'll show you what I'm planning here in a little while. But for now, just trust me that there's a reason for me building the corridors like this. It's an untested reason. I don't know if it's actually going to work. So if it doesn't, I'll pretend that that wasn't what I was trying to do. No, I'll explain it once we've got traps. But for now, let's build out a nice big old room. This will be our barracks. Now, the big change to the game is that you now build furniture in the rooms. You build the floors, which affect the operation of the furniture, and you build the furniture itself. You no longer just build a training room and then it dictates where all the training dummies are based on the size and shape of the room. No, you do that now. You build these yourself. So I'm going to pop down some training dummies. There we are. They're wooden training dummies, so we're drawing out the wood from over there. So there we go. That's our beginner training room. I'm actually going to have more than one training room later on with different training dummies, but this one will do for starters. Then I want to be a little bit deeper in. And generally speaking, I actually want this corridor to go out a little bit further. I want to start bringing in some minions, though. So let's have... sure, we'll have a very modest little dormitory there that will be enough for us to get a couple of orcs, because the monsters that you can recruit will tend to be attracted to your dungeon based on the rooms that you have, based on what you have there. So for example, orcs like to train, so having a dungeon with some training dummies is going to create an attraction level for orcs, and so we'll probably see some orcs coming in. I can only have 5 people, 5 humanoids, because humanoids sleep in beds, animals sleep in beast layers. You know what, I wouldn't mind terribly having the beasts in here, but they could live more towards the outside. They don't actually need to live deep in the fort. Yeah, you know what, there's a certain reason to do that as well, because if you have enemies that might minions that might attack a foe from behind. For example, I might have an alarm trap over here, and when that alarm trap is sprung, all the minions in my dungeon will try and converge on it. If there were sleeping animals back here and the heroes just passed them by because there was no reason to go there because they're basically trying to find my keeper, and they always seem to know exactly where my keeper is, so they'll make a beeline for him, they might have just left all of these animals over here and not done anything about them. That would be remarkably good for us, because when this alarm trap triggers, they've already gone through all these traps, they're probably fairly wounded, but now they're not just going to face the people who they come across in my training room, they'll have a surge of wolves or bears charging at them from the rear as well, which will be particularly nice. Now we're going to draw this out just a little bit more and zoom out a tad as well. How are we doing for wood? We're doing okay, we've got 900 and 1 wood for now. In fact, let's go ahead and put down some flooring in here just to improve the functionality of my my training dummies. There we go. And you can get a little bit more artistic now since they've added the ability to just place down the wooden, the various flooring yourself. We'll also add a little bit of light to this room as well, in the form of some torches. Finally, we will also spend 10 mana on a magic eyeball right in the middle, so I can always see what's going on in my low-level training room. Right, we really do need a... Oh, we've already got some bolts. Fantastic. We do need a library. Now, typically speaking, you want your library to be one of the furthest, most remote parts of your dungeon, because that's where your keeper is going to spend the vast majority of his time, and you don't want enemies just being able to waltz over there and engage your keeper. So you want them to have to fight through the majority of your dungeon. So I'm just going to assume that the roundabout here will be good enough for us to have our initial library. And I'm a very big fan of making interesting shaped rooms. So we're going to do that here. And we'll have something like that. Oh no, wait. Okay, my room plan. It is all for naught. We cannot do that because... Oh, I need to hold down control to delete. We cannot do this because of the bloody water. Scallywags. Okay, well, I mean, this will be an okay initial library. Maybe later on we could build a second one. This will be fine for the time being, then. We'll have this little tiny library over here. We might... I'll change the shape of the room down here, though, just to expand it out a little tiny bit. There we go. So it's not really a big fan. I'll be honest with you. We'll dig it back a little bit, and then we'll have our funky shape. I need the library to be an interesting shape. You just don't understand. It's a need. It's not a want. Flat out need. Right, there we go. That's a bit better. Now, we can add in, again, library bookshelves. Now, the more of these you have, the better, generally speaking. It will result in you getting more mana generation. My keeper should be fast at making his way over here now to start learning secrets. Secrets probably best left unknown, but you know, my keeper doesn't really listen to that little voice in his head that's telling him that the eldritch tomes that he's studying will just lead to doom. Or maybe he is, and that's exactly why he's studying them. Let's go ahead and place down a couple more floors again, just to make this look nice. There we go. Eventually I would like carpet in here, but that requires gold, and we're very, very great ways away from being able to afford to carpet areas. But that'll do well enough, and then we can have some torches in here as well at these little locations there. Okay, so that looks good. Now, you may notice that we are remarkably low on wood. We've basically gone into debt. My wolves are moving out. Now, the wolves are interesting because they start in a team. They start as a wolf pack. Now, this is the thing that I really like about this, is that you can basically create adventuring parties made up of your various minions. We've got Cave Bear, for example, and all creatures have different sort of things they like to do. For example, Cave Bears really like exploring caves, hence the name. Wolves like to go out and hunt at night. They'll generally sleep through the day. You can force them to do things, but you can also put them in teams and then control the team leader, and then the whole pack will follow you. Wolves come in a pre-existing team, but you can set up your own ones. Like, for example, I sometimes like taking the keeper out, though understand, again, the keeper is the only minion that actually matters in your dungeon. If the keeper dies, you lose the game, so, you know, there's something to be said about not taking your keeper out into dangerous places where he might get killed. There is that. Now, the mana, which we're now generating thanks to our library, can be spent. We do that in the library, and we can research different things. And this is really the big body of how you progress the game. We are going to initially spend 60 of our mana learning sorcery. Now that means that we have learned new spells. I didn't actually show you the spells we had initially, but I believe it was just healing. But now we can summon insects, we can cast deception, we can also hasten ourselves, and we can cast stun ray. There are, as you can see, 3 levels of sorcery. There's sorcery, advanced sorcery, and then finally master sorcery. Now, your keeper is unique in that the moment you have learned any kind of advanced sorcery, your keeper instantly knows every spell that level of sorcery is unlocked. Other creatures, your minions, they have to study in order to learn. They don't start out with that just basic knowledge. If I had any orcish shamans, they would, as they spend time in the library, learn to do these things. They would learn Go ahead, minions. They would learn to be able to cast spells, and it's random which spells they learn. They're not specifically studying a particular spell. They're just getting better at spell casting overall, and picking up spells. And this is the same for any creature that can study. I believe it's just shamans and vampires that can study magic. Unfortunately, they're just stacking up all of our wood right now, and they'll be off to get some more. Our wolves are just wandering around. I'm completely happy. Oh, wait. Oh dear. A cave bear has been killed by a dwarf. Let me guess. Yep. Okay, we've got dwarves on the map. It's not so bad. They're strong enough that we don't want to mess with them. I think the cave bear probably gave one of the dwarves an egregious wound that eventually took its life, as evidenced by the sound that we heard whilst peering into the darkness with our arcane eye. But that may mean that they're going to attack us. Now, the dwarvish civilization, we can't easily see that. Let me go to the map here. There are sometimes dwarves as a civ. They're not here. So we're not facing a full-on civilization, which might get annoyed because they've been triggered. But there are triggering conditions. We've not met any yet. If we do start to trigger a faction, they'll start to come and try and attack us. And that's just the way that one's going to be. Dread. You know what? I made a slight mistake down here. A very, very slight mistake that is going to pain me. I'm afraid I'm going to have to adjust this. Basically, I need a block there and to dig this out. It's fine. We can adjust it later on. It's actually quite expensive to undo that kind of mistake, though. Generally, if you have to rebuild a wall, you're going to be paying a lot of money to do it. So try not to if you can possibly avoid it. We might be okay, though. We might be able to slip past this tile once I've got a boulder there. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. But for now, it's okay. Right, how are things going? Are you building everything for me over here? Wonderful. We're getting all sorts of things constructed, and that will probably mean that we'll start seeing some shamans. I hope we get some soon, because we're at 8 of 10. And once we reach that 10th, we've got 3 orcs at the moment. They're currently training, and that's what they're largely going to do. Though they can do a little bit of like working in workshops and the likes, if you've got workshops for them. But I would super like at least 1 or 2 shamans, because then they can just work in the library and just continually produce more mana. Because you get more mana in a number of ways. 1, killing anything generates mana. You get more if you kill them at night. And 2, studying in the library generates mana. Now, we've just got a new wolf, and it's probably not part of the original pack. So, yeah, I'm going to make them all part of the same pack. Now, the thing with animals, they never train. It is one of those things. It can work out well for you, and it can work out poorly. It's just one of those things. I like animals, or having a couple, because some of them have very unique abilities that I'm particularly fond of. Right, let's have a look at what we want to use now. We could go for pig breeding, because once we build a pigsty, it's basically a cafeteria, effectively, for our minions, and it allows us to have more. And I think that's going to be important to us. So I'm going to spend a whopping 120 mana of the limited mana that I have to get that. And then I could go for crafting, and I think I will. Now, crafting is going to allow us to build workshops, and it's also going to allow us to set up a couple of other things as well. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and build out a pigsty. I'm going to draw a line down here and just see where that water ends, because I may not have enough room to do what I want down here, in which case I could just make this a little equipment stock room, perhaps. No, I think we've got enough room. Okay, well, I want a pigsty about yay big, I would say. I think this will give me the maximum. Now, a pigsty, the most you can get out of a pigsty is 4. 4 new population limit. And that's all dependent on how large the pigsty is. So let's just see if once we build this, we're at 14. If we're not, then... Oh, we're already at 12. Yeah, we're probably going to end up with 14 quite comfortably with this much of a pigsty. Now, the unfortunate thing is you will have miasma. So I strongly recommend, if you put it nowhere else, put an airlock between your pigsty and everywhere else. It's just going to make everything a little bit better for you. You don't need to put doors everywhere, But having one there is good, and probably also an airlock with my animal area as well, simply because ultimately I want them to be left alone and for people to just pass by that area, and they won't. Oh, there we go, an orc shaman has joined us. Wonderful. They won't go through these doors if they don't have to, but there we go, we've got a shaman. Now that shaman will basically take over my keeper's role in the library. My keeper is a lot better at it though, at generating mana from studying, so I'm probably going to keep my keeper there. We do now need to expand our dormitory a little bit. Perhaps I'll have a little dormitory just off here, maybe. Just a little place to the sides. Maybe I'll have this for my loyal shamans. I don't think there's a way that I can force my minions to bed down in a certain location. Unfortunately, that would be pretty cool if I could very specifically say, yeah, this is where the shamans live. This is where my orc warriors live, because then I could really dictate where fights happen and who was going to be closest and thus the first to answer the alarm call. Pop some torches in there. I know you're trying to sleep, but I want to have light in there. In fact, just because I'm super nice, I'll actually give you doors as well, because there's only a little bit of wood, although I'm actually super low on wood right now, so we need to go ahead and dig out some more area. Right, at the moment things are fairly quiet for us. No one has attacked us, and we have not attacked anyone else, well, except for the dwarves, but they don't count at the moment. What was that? Oh, you're eating pigs. Very well, there we go. That shaman there has learned the spell Haste Self. If I have a look, it knows healing. Oh, healing is actually just a base ability that it has. Do you have anything else? It's got sorcery at 70%. Let me control you. Oh, there we go. You've learned summon insects, deception, haste self, and stun rate. That's a really good one to have. You just press U to exit control there. But we can allow them to remain in there, and they'll slowly generate more mana over time. And we're going to get lots more wood because we need to build a workshop. Now, I'm thinking we'll have a couple of little places dotted around that have equipment for us. I'll put in a little airlock there. Not that we really need to prevent the air from moving around in this one. We'll have, well, it's not a little one at all. That's quite a large equipment area, and we'll shrink it down a little bit because I just like having rooms of different shapes and sizes. In fact, how about we make this one a little bit more interesting? I'm exactly the same when I'm playing Dwarf Fortress. I need my rooms to have features. I like the idea of there being supporting pillars and the likes and all that kind of stuff. Right, so you're going to go ahead and get all that done for me. I'm very pleased. And we've got an autosave, so my imps should get back and start working on things in a moment. Let me pop in some torches there as well. We'll also add in a door down here, just because I don't think that we really want anyone just making their way into my resources. I don't think people generally steal things. Bandits will absolutely steal stuff. They will 100% try to run off with your gold. So you want to protect your gold. But at the moment, we have no gold, so it really doesn't matter that much. Now, what I'm going to do in here is this room is going to be completely an equipment room. I could also make this into a workshop so that the equipment would be immediately deposited on the ground in the workshop. And yeah, there's a certain... Yeah, you know what? That actually, I like that idea. I like that idea an awful lot, in fact. I've never thought about that before. But damn it, that's a fine idea. We'll put in 4 workshops. We'll just have them popped down right there, and then I'm going to remove these parts of the zones because I'm finicky like that. And then we are going to place down some flooring once again so that we get a bit of a bonus. And then we'll pave it around, put down some nice flooring, and generally, yeah, I'm quite happy with that, actually. Quite happy. In fact, I may even go as far as to remove the storage areas around there as well. Okay, we need weapons for our minions. Indeed we do. How many minions have we got? We've got 6 orcs, 2 orc shamans. That's wonderful, because we're going to be generating much more mana this way. Very, very happy with that. And our orcs are generally getting better at what they're doing. Now, the way that you can use the workshops, and this is the last thing we're going to be doing in this episode, you go in here, and now, previously, when you had a workshop, the minions would just go and they'd make stuff. And they'd make it out of thin air. But they would be completely random in what they made. You may end up with an equipment room full of wooden clubs when you had long ago, you know, gone beyond the point where wooden clubs were remotely useful to you and you were actually wanting giant, hefting great swords made of steel. But, you know, you had no control. But now you do have control. But the caveat is you have to pay for it. You have to pay wood, stone, so on and so forth. We can make traps later on. We can't make any of these currently because we've not researched them. But what we have researched is we can go ahead and we can make gloves, all sorts of things. I would actually like to change the number here. I want, let's say, 10 pairs of gloves. I want 10 pairs of boots. I want 10 hats, and I would also quite fancy 10 leather armor. So once we've got that, then our minions are going to be a little bit happier. I guess we could go ahead and make clubs. Yeah, alright then. We'll also have 10 clubs as well. Now, the minions will decide by themselves who equips what, but you can exert a level of control over that. You can tell specific minions to grab specific equipment. That is well within your power. And in fact, you can tell minions to do specific tasks. You've noticed that some of my orcs have taken it upon themselves to go off and start manning the workshops and building things. And that is, you know, part of what orcs do. But I can say, no, actually. Let's have a look. You, Ugdum. I don't ever want you doing anything but training. I'll also let you sleep. I guess I'll also let you. You can be whipped. I'll cover that when we get a whipping post. But I could tell Ugden, no, you don't get to craft. I want you to focus on training. And that is completely, you know, a reasonable thing to do. But I actually want Ugdem to work on crafting. However, my keeper, now that I've got 2 shamans in there, Keeper Milado, I no longer want you studying. There are other things you can do. You can sit on the throne and look menacing. You can also be whipped. Really? I can whip my keeper? That makes no sense. The keeper is the one that tells people to be whipped. Or maybe he wants to be whipped. I don't know. But the keeper can also craft. Specifically, I think the keeper works on potions and the likes. But I want the keeper to be training. Right now, I want my keeper to be max level. And once my keeper no longer has anything else that he can do, like he's trained to max level that my training dummies can provide, then I'll reassign him. But for now, it's very important to me that my keeper work on that. So you go and train for me, please. There we are. And now the keeper won't decide to go back to studying, because the keeper will tend to want to study more than anything else. And early on, that is quite useful. But once you've got some orc shamans, you don't need the keeper propping you up with mana. It's better to have a high-level keeper than not. And one of the actual last things I'm going to do, I did say it was the last thing, but I lied. I'm going to make some more imps, because I want my stuff done a little bit faster. I feel that having so few imps, not good enough. I don't want to go any below that because I want at least 60 for what we're going to be doing in the next episode. But that is going to be it for this first revisiting of Keeper Roguelike. Again, if you haven't seen the game at all, I have played the game in previous iterations, and there's a lot of the base mechanics of the game that I cover in those episodes. So by all means, check out the series, the playlist that will be linked in the video. And as ever, remember to like if you liked, sub if you haven't. But until next time, do take care.